from the investor boardroom. The videos that we come to you with are designed to help you get our audience one step closer to, in my opinion, what is the ultimate goal, and that's financial freedom. We do that through educational, informative, hopefully somewhat entertaining content. I don't know, I think I'm funny sometimes, but you know, that it could just be me. We'll see, I guess. But we want to be able to bring this content to you because we understand that, you know, finances are something that a lot of people have questions about and a lot of people struggle with. And, you know, there's a lot of conversations that take place on social media, around the interwebs about, you know, the lack of financial education that so many of us have. And, you know, people pushing for financial intelligence, financial education to be incorporated into, you know, schooling, into public schooling. And so what I wanted to do here today was just take a little bit of time to rap with everybody about finances, okay? So a lot of us have this false belief that if we were able to generate more income and make more money, that would solve all of our financial problems, right? How many of you, seriously, like think about this for a second, how many of you have ever had that thought yourselves or know somebody that has said that to you? Right? I've had that thought before. What I really believe, the more that I've invested in learning about money, about wealth, the more books that I read about finance, the more of your kind of financial minds that I listen to, you know, I've kind of reevaluated my thought process there a little bit. Okay, so most people think that they have an income problem. But I would actually argue that most people have a spending problem. So we have money that comes in and we have money that goes out, right? And ultimately what we should really all be doing if we're concerned about our financial future is we should be working to make sure that the money that goes out is significantly less than the money that comes in, because that leftover money, if we're responsible, we can save that money up until we have enough that we can go out and then we can invest. We can buy whatever it is that you want to invest in, right? I'm a big real estate guy. If you've watched more than, you know, this video on this channel, you would already know that. But I'm not trying to convince anybody that real estate is the investment of choice right now, right? Like, I'm just concerned that you're investing. That's step number one, right? So most of us, right, have this, again, false belief, oh, well, you know, I've got all these expenses. If I could just make more money, my expenses would stay the same, exactly the same, and that increase in income, I'd be able to save it. But I call bullshit. It doesn't ever work that way. Generally speaking, and again, right, look in the mirror and think about this. When we start to make more money, don't we generally find really interesting, creative ways to spend more money too, right? Now that $1,000 vacation is a $2,500 vacation because you can afford the 4-star restaurant instead of the 3-star, right? Like, there's always something else, right? Rather than buying the knockoff purse, I don't know why I went purse there, you buy the real thing, right? You're buying the $200 pair of Nikes instead of the, you know, $70 pair of Nikes, whatever the case may be. And so what I want to really talk about today is just your ability to live within your means and to control the money going out, okay? I'm really a believer that over a certain amount of income that most people really have a spending problem, and that's why they don't have a better financial position that they're in. So there's a couple really big places I think that people destroy themselves financially today, okay? And I'm going to talk about them specifically, the really, really, really big ones, okay? But there's a lot of really small ones too. Okay, now I am not the person that's ever going to sit here and tell somebody not to go buy coffee at Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts. Like, look, if you can't afford an extra $4 or $5 a day, and that's going to be the difference for you, then you may actually have an income problem. You may need to focus on, okay, how do I generate more capital into my household? Because let's face it, if you're buying a Starbucks once a day, 5 days a week, right? That's what, 20 times throughout the course of the month at $5 a pop. That's like $100. I'm not going to sit here and tell you to cut coupons, because that to me is a fucking waste of time. You know, by the time you cut all the coupons and you go through them all and everything, you spend an hour to save like $2.32 at the grocery store. Like, that ain't going to move the needle. I'm talking about needle movers here, okay? Saving a couple bucks here and there is not going to help you become a millionaire. Let's be real, okay? So, vehicles. A lot of people, if you've ever read the book, The Millionaire Next Door, there's actually chapters dedicated to this specific thing, cars. If you go out and you buy brand new cars, you are spending money unnecessarily that you do not need to spend. Now, look, if you're a car fan, you're a car fanatic, and you have, like, whatever, right? I'm not here to judge. I'm just sharing information. So, most oftentimes, if you can buy a car lightly used, 2 to 3 years old, that's got some mileage on it, probably coming off of a lease, that is, those first 2 or 3 years of use, that is the period that cars tend to depreciate most significantly. So if you can find a lightly used vehicle, right, you can save yourself significant chunks of money over the course of your life if you're willing to buy lightly used cars rather than always needing to buy a brand new car, okay? If we're talking a $40,000 car, brand new price tag, you're able to buy that car used for $20,000 to $30,000. We're talking a 50% to 25 to 50% discount off of normal ticket price, okay? You extrapolate that over the course of multiple vehicles over the course of your lifetime, that's a significant chunk of capital that if you were able to save it and invest it rather than spending it, that money would be churning, right? And you'd be making money on that rather than sending it out. So that's area one. Area number two, weddings. So my wife and I, and this is huge, okay? Most marriages, right? 50% of marriages currently end in divorce. And if you look at the data, the overwhelming amount of divorces out there, the biggest cause or the leading cause in divorce is finances, right? Financial struggles. And yet the typical couple goes out and spends 20, 40, 60, $100,000 on a wedding. Look, it's a wedding. It's important. I understand, right? I'm married, but it's one day. And I've been to a lot of really big and really expensive weddings. It's a ginormous party. You can go and party for a lot less than $80,000. You can throw a really fucking cool party for $5,000. So my wife and I made the decision to go abroad. We had 6 people at our wedding: my parents, my wife's parents, my godmother, and my godmother's boyfriend. We had 6 guests. We got married in Portugal in a castle, and we spent less than half of what we would have spent to get married here stateside with 50 people and us trying to scrimp to save money on a wedding. So as you're getting into a marriage, or if you have children, right, and you are going to be helping to pay for that wedding, you don't have to spend a fuckload of money on your wedding for it to be important or for it to be a nice wedding. My wife and I had a fantastic time. We actually were able to focus on each other rather than having to play host and hostess to 100 people, right? So that's another area where I know my wife and I, wound up putting ourselves in a much better financial position. We saved ourselves $30, $40, $50,000 just by doing the wedding the way that we decided to do the wedding, right? So we have got the vehicle, right? We have got the wedding. The third is college. Now, we're recording this very shortly after the current administration decided to forgive $10,000 worth of student loan debt, which, you know, like many things in today's country, right? Some people love, some people hate, and then nobody else really seems to have an opinion, right? It's always like those two polar opposites, and then everybody else just seems to let it go and live their lives, right? But there is in my opinion, a decreasing value in colleges. So if you think, right, I just turned 39. So when I was a kid, when my parents were kids, everybody didn't go to college, right? Going to college was something that separated you from a lot of your peers. So supply and demand, right? When you had employers that had really high paying jobs, they wanted to see certain college education. They wanted to see certain credentials for people. And so you saw college educated people getting significantly higher paying jobs. Well, what happened, right? First of all, the government came in and kind of backstopped loans. So everybody was able to take out student loan debts, right? That's why student loan debt is a problem, is because literally anybody can take out a student loan. But so when anybody can take out a student loan, that increases the demand, right, for college education, because now everybody can afford it. Before, you had this natural barrier that prevented a lot of people from going to college, and that was the almighty dollar, right? Well, now they can just sacrifice their future. They can leverage their future. They can take out a bunch of debt. I know people graduating with over $100,000 in student loan debt, and they don't have a job. Can you imagine that? So you have more and more people going to college, which means that the value of the degree is dropping because you just simply have more people with that degree, right? When you increase the supply of college educated people, it decreases the value of that college education. And so I know myself as an employer, I'm not paying attention to somebody's degree. And I happen to know a lot of other people that are hiring right now that are not necessarily paying attention to somebody's education. A lot of people now are really looking for are personality fit, value alignment, right? We're looking for somebody that we think can come in and that's interested in working for the company, and I'm willing to take somebody and teach them the skills that they need in order to be successful working with me. So depending on you, if you're thinking about college, right, you're younger, if you've got kids, I would really, really encourage everybody to seriously consider the actual occupation, what somebody is intending on doing for a living, and really determining whether that college education is actually required. There's a lot of people right now that are choosing to forego the college education and they're going into trades. I know people that are absolutely crushing it as contractors, plumbers, general contractors, electricians, and I'm talking 6 figures that they're making as an employee. I know some guys that run contracting businesses that are making 7 and 8 figures off of that contracting business with 0 college education. So just before if you're a parent, before you push your kids into that college education, I would seriously consider thinking about the way that that's going to impact their finances moving forward. So it's not always an income problem. As a matter of fact, I think most of us are under the impression that we have an income problem, but we actually have a money going out. We've got an expense problem. If we can rein in that expense problem, then we can allocate more of that income on an ongoing basis to investments, which will then help to generate more income, right? So if you're making the right investments, they'll actually generate more income for your household too. So I hope that helps. If you found value, again, do us a solid, hit that like button, subscribe to the video, check us out. We will be coming to you with some more great content to help you get one step closer to the ultimate goal of financial freedom.